Lately, it looks like the Chrisley family can't get a break. TMZ reports that Grayson, one of the stars of Chrisley Knows Best, was involved in a car accident so severe he ended up hospitalized. First, his parents were sentenced to prison for tax fraud, and now this accident. Things only seem to be going from bad to worse for the Chrisley family. Stay tuned to find out more about Grayson and his devastating accident. First up, let's talk about what really happened to Grayson. Well, it turns out he slammed his F-150 truck right into the back of a Dodge pickup. The Dodge was completely stagnant in traffic on the I-65N highway in Nashville, Tennessee. We're talking bumper-to-bumper traffic. How could Grayson miss that, right? The poor old Dodge driver informed the police that he felt the full force of Grayson's F-150 as it rammed into him from behind. Todd Chrisley even mentioned the crash on the 17th episode of his popular Chrisley Confessions podcast, revealing that his son was involved in a terrifying collision. He narrated the events from his point of view, sharing that he got the devastating news on the phone. Todd didn't waste a second jumping to his son's rescue. In the podcast, Todd talked about finding Grayson on the interstate. He had to go through the intense agony of miles and miles of unbearable traffic before he finally got to see his youngest son, and Grayson was not looking good. Neither was his car. It was ultimately totaled. We can't help but feel sorry for this guy. Next up, let's discuss the aftermath of this terrible incident. As you must have expected, when Grayson was found, he was quickly rushed to the hospital. But unfortunately, we haven't received any updates on how he's doing. We're just hoping he's okay and gets back on his feet as soon as possible. Sweet little Grayson couldn't even remember what happened. He probably had a really bad head injury. But if you thought that was bad, get this. TMZ obtained photos from the scene of the accident where both cars had to be towed away. While the Dodge truck absorbed a decent chunk of damage, Grayson's beautiful white Ford F-150 suffered a cracked windshield and a completely and utterly destroyed front end. Even the driver of the Dodge was noticeably injured, but he refused to take medical attention, so we can't say for sure. Still, the U.S. Sun reported on the 12th of November that both drivers sustained injuries in this crash. What's more, Grayson is reported to have suffered a head injury and is said to have been handling it as best as he can. Turns out, the boy is still recovering and resting at home. We really hope he feels better soon. Many speculate he crashed his car because of the disturbing situation going on with his parents and the stress that came with it. Let's not forget the verdict came out against his parents months before the crash. We can't imagine what this poor teenager must be going through. The kids in his high school certainly wouldn't have gone easy on him. The good news is that TMZ noted that police did not note any charges or arrests after this accident. Moving on, what's up with Grayson's parents and their prison case? Grayson's accident couldn't have been more untimely. Todd and Julie were sentenced to prison just around that time. The reality couple was found guilty of committing fraud and tax evasion. Shockingly, they were charged with deceiving several banks into giving them gigantic loans and evading their taxes on top of that. Together, these loans amassed millions and millions of dollars, but we'll get into that later. Next up, it seems like Grayson has been handling it the worst. One source told the U.S. Sun about the family's response to the situation. Understandably, everyone's incredibly upset. Although Todd and Julie are still in shock, 16-year-old Grayson handled the sentencing the worst. The teenager, being the youngest in the family, had the most to lose. He doesn't have a career or anything solid to fall back on. It's so devastating to imagine that the young boy is still in high school and wants to stay busy with extracurricular activities like weight training in the gym or some regular basketball, anything to get his mind off the utter chaos at home. Grayson was extremely troubled after seeing all the negative comments aimed at his family on social media. But dads always come to the rescue, don't they? Todd came to Grayson after the verdict and recommended that he ignore the trolls. The reality star reminded his son that he couldn't let these online trolls affect his day. These were people Grayson was never going to meet, and it simply didn't matter what they thought. In classic dad fashion, Todd said that Grayson should spend some time listening to God instead of listening to the trolls. That's rich coming from someone who's convicted of fraud, right? But you've got to give Todd credit for getting his parenting right. Hopefully, Grayson can learn to adapt without his parents, because in their absence, his elder sister Savannah will be responsible for both him and his 10-year-old niece Chloe. Savannah quickly announced this in her latest podcast, Unlocked with Savannah Chrisley. We guess the social media presence runs in the family. Finally, here's why the future doesn't look so bright for the Chrisleys. For now, it seems like the Chrisleys will head for a nice vacation, spending quality family time before before they turn themselves in. Until that day arrives, they're planning on ignoring the thought of their life behind bars and enjoying this holiday to the max. Frankly, we don't know what the fuss is about. Their prisons are minimum security and filled with all sorts of amenities. Some call them the Hilton of federal prisons. Many believe the family will stick together through thick and thin, as they have in the past. Todd and Julie are also allowed to send letters, call home, and have some third party deliver the message. But we're nonetheless devastated to hear that both of their family shows, Chrisley Knows Best and Growing Up Chrisley, have already been canceled. That's pretty unfortunate. But wait, before you go, allow us to explain what the Chrisley's prison sentence is all about. Firstly, let's discuss the sentence itself. What really happened for USA Network's hit reality stars to receive a combined total of 19 years in prison? Well, more specifically, Todd was sentenced to 12 years in jail while his wife Julie got only 7, and they didn't go down alone. Their accountant, Peter Tarantino, was found guilty of filing 2 false corporate tax returns for the Chrisleys. Tarantino will serve 3 years in prison himself after recovering from his hip surgery in May. You probably don't know this, but Todd could have literally gotten up to 22 years in prison, and Julie could have gotten 12 and a half. Crazy to think they're already on a lighter sentence. Next up, what did they even do? We know what you're thinking, a combined total of almost 2 decades in prison, but for what? Well, besides conspiring to defraud community banks of more than $30 million, the Chrisleys committed countless tax crimes, including tax evasion and conspiring to defraud the IRS. The U.S. Attorney's Office reports that they submitted false financial statements to obtain huge loans and proceeded to spend them on luxury cars, clothes, and real estate. Talk about living the dream. Yeah, we know why you think this sounds familiar. It's basically the entire plot of Inventing Anna. Oh, but they were smart. The couple opened up new fraudulent loans to pay back the old ones, and after spending over $20 million, Todd Chrisley filed for bankruptcy and walked away. This was precisely the time when they started their reality show, flexing all their luxury to the entire country. Then, they proceeded to conceal the millions made from the show from the IRS. Gosh, there's no end to their ambition, is there? No wonder the prosecutors argue that their sentence should have been far worse. Finally, law versus power. Despite the conviction, Todd is adamant that he and his wife are innocent. Recently, the 53-year-old said that the support his family has received after the verdict has outweighed the criticism. He said that the world keeps on trying to bring his family down, but he wouldn't absorb shame for something he didn't do. Special agent of the IRS, James Dorsey, said that this conviction proves that you'll be held accountable for paying taxes, even if you're rich and famous. Someone tell Jeff Bezos to watch out. FBI agent Carrie Farley added that when you lie, cheat, and steal, justice is blind to your fame, your fortune, and your position. We're not going to lie, the Chrisleys didn't exactly keep a low profile while they were evading tax. In 2013, while Todd was amidst bankruptcy proceedings, the Chrisleys filmed a promotional video for their new reality show, boasting their extravagant lifestyle. Todd was seen showing off how his family blows thousands of dollars on clothes alone. We mean, someone was bound to notice. That's a wrap for this video. What do you think about the Chrisleys' prison sentence? And what about poor Grayson's accident? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this.